Hari Om.
Hari Om and good evening. Welcome back to the next session of Kindle Life, day 32. Today we are going to war. We are going to war with our mind, the mind which fluctuates, the mind which troubles. And let us see the techniques which will help us to get this mind of ours in our own control. But before we start that, there is something important that we want to share with you, that today is our Pujya Gurudev's Aradhana Day. Today in California, he passed away 27 years ago. And we celebrate that day. Celebrate that day because he left behind a wonderful legacy for us to follow. And I will ask Jagdish to say something about it.
Gurudev has said that whenever you feel that you miss me, look into your heart and there I will be. And this is so true. For sadhakas like us, me and Rajshree, who didn't have the opportunity, the good luck, the good fortune of seeing Gurudev physically, still every moment of our life we feel his presence into our lives through his knowledge, through his books, through the videos, through the audios, and moreover, the best gift that Gurudev has given us and God is our Pujya Guruji Swami Chinmayananda Ji. He looks after us like our own father. We can't thank Gurudev enough, and we can't thank Guruji enough.
So let us join our hands now and give a 30 seconds silence, after which we will begin our prayers. Hari Om.
समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। Chapter 29. At war with mind. The technique of japa lies in engaging the mind totally in the self-repeated sound, having a very subtle and a great philosophical significance. And after a time when the mind is fully engrossed with the idea, we cry a halt to it, thereby taking away from the mind its only occupation at that time. So once the mind becomes mantramaya, full with mantra, suddenly you stop. Why? The hope of scriptures, Shastra, is that by such a process, the seeker would come to experience the silence of the heart. The jiva, as it is said, sits into the heart. That silence is felt. But, in fact, in our practice, we shall come to experience that, in spite of all the techniques and the underlying wisdom of it all, we still deceive ourselves inasmuch as our own mind still continues to wander. To gather this mind and to hold it as an integrated whole at the point of meditation calls for a painful and difficult strategy. This inner struggle is really the battle of Mahabharata, and it is an eternal one. The struggle is the price that we must pay for the eternal reward of liberation. Gurudev has given the analogy of Mahabharata. We all know the story of Mahabharata, where the Kurus and the Pandavas, though being cousins of the same family, were at complete war against each other all the time. But the solving of the war, the solving of the issue only came through when the Guru came into picture. Bhagwan Sri Krishna came into picture.
Yes. So, I just want to share one more thing over here because of the analogies being so beautiful. That the same negativity and the same positivity thoughts rise in our own mind, our own body. So, one body, just like one family of the Kurukshetra. And the negativity and the thoughts which come are in hundreds, which are constantly we have to fight. And how are we fighting against them? With using our all five senses and keeping great control. Just like the Pandavas are five, the senses are also five, which control all the negativities which are there. So wonderful analogy. Let's read.
Mind. Mind, we had seen, is a product of the impressions we have gathered so far in all our lives, from the beginningless time onwards to date. In all our incarnations, we have been living moment to moment, endless experiences, and each such lived moment could not have but left a few dots and dashes on our mental sheet. Goaded by these impressions, an irresistible mind, wild and surging, drives our physical structure endlessly hither and thither. Tossed between them, we earn our agitations and feel shattered in our attempts at our meditations. So Gurudev now has introduced us to Japa Yoga. From Japa Yoga, he has given us the most powerful and the ancient mantra, Gayatri mantra. And now he is advancing us to meditation. But just like a mother, just like a true guru, or a guru who is experienced, is already telling the students, be aware of these pitfalls. So when we read today's talk, today's chapter, pay full attention as you read with me. Gurudev is going to first give us the problems that come, and then he is going to provide us with the solutions. And not one, not two, but solutions in numbers. When the good and the bad meet face to face, there must be a field of tension and activity. It is an eternal law. We can never mentally get away from these two feelings, and as such, identifying with them, we suffer the consequent dissipation. The word dissipation means loss of energy. Unnecessarily we lose our energy. Dissipation. When negative and positive come together, the strife that happens, it makes us lose our power and positive energy. At one moment, we are identifying with the call of the God, with the call of the good in us, the soft and small voice of the within, and feel unhappy that, in spite of ourselves, we are tempted to act like the criminal, the vicious and the sinner. At another moment, strangely enough, in spite of our satanic inclination, shaitan inclination, we succeed in doing good and feel elated. This tension between good and Satan,
God and Satan.
beg your pardon, this tension between God and Satan, the Pandavas and the Kauravas, within the bosom of a seeker is an eternal one. All scriptures in the world unanimously declare that ultimately the success belongs to Arjuna, who have made the Lord of Vrindavana himself as his charioteer. So clearly Gurudev is indicating that this war, which is an eternal war between good and bad, between God and Satan, between the Kauravas, the Pandavas and the Kauravas. It never will end unless and until you, just like Arjuna, make that Lord Vrindavan himself as a charioteer. But where will we get God to become as our charioteer from? How will he come for every one of us?
So continuing with the God and Satan which are within us, and the charioteer being the Lord, Sri Krishna, and of course he is the one we should give our reins into his hands so that he guides us correctly.
So, where will we find such a God every time? There, next. To the seeker who has given up his body chariot entirely to the supreme control of the divine charioteer, even disaster spells success. We will take up this analogy later in our discussions. The challenge facing every meditator, as we said now, is the threat of the mind. The mind, by its very nature, is very running into its own self-chosen instinct ploughed ruts. The seeker's attempt is to bundle up all the wasteful channels and to make the waters of the mind run through a definite channel and make it irrigate the field of the divine within himself. A thorough knowledge of the strategies of the mind and a full control of ourselves by which we can hold the mind back to the point of concentration becomes absolutely essential if we are to win ultimately in the subjective war against our own lower tendencies, lower self. So the war is not outside. The agitation is inside. How much ever we try to clean our windows, how much ever we try to get more riches, if the agitation which is inside does not go away, by doing these superficial actions will never end. Those agitations will not end. But the only way it will end is, where are the agitations? You should understand what kind of agitation it is and how to solve the agitation. Then it will work. The following methods may be employed with success. Not all of them at once, but any one of them would be sufficient in any given time. If you discover that you have used the wrong missile, you can always change the instrument and win your moment-to-moment victories. In the electronic form, it is not properly typed, it's all typed one way. It is moment-to-moment victories. I am giving you here a long list of the weapons available in the arsenal of the scriptural seeker. Almost all of these have served me faithfully on many occasions. Gurudev has put this sentence out of such karuna, such love, such care, that all seekers may feel that, oh, even as great as a guru of Gurudev type, he also needed these weapons to be used. Yes. Every single one of us going in the path will require these. Why? Because inside us remain, remember, the same mind, the same intellect are having conflicts.
Mind is a continuous flow of thoughts, so the thoughts never stop. It will go on with a continuous struggle.
So he is so kind that he is saying it to us that yes, even I have used these. The first solution. Whenever the mind runs, to become aware of it and at once strive to bring it back to the point of meditation forcefully is one of the methods. So mind runs, you immediately get it back. This is the first method, with force. This is in fact the goal and the means, both in one. Gita and other sacred books, Smriti and Shruti, insist upon this. Second, we often find that a wandering mind is a mind that has gone forever from its aim of concentration, lakshya, and we too invariably go with the mind and do not recognize for a long time that our mind is wandering. Two things to note here. One, that the mind is ever wandering. And second, Gurudev is pointing out that we too follow it. Means what, Raji? Mind and you are not the same. You are not your mind. The mind is employed by you. It's supposed to be serving you.
Remember, you are the lord of your mind. So it is up to you to control your mind.
Therefore, the remedy should lie in ourselves. When we are sitting for prayer and meditation, we must be fully conscious of what we are about. It is for this purpose that we have congregational prayers, means Sarvajanik prayers, chimes of the bells, incense burning, beautiful lights, and the Lord's form or symbol. Every religion insists that before prayers we must physically cleanse ourselves and wear clean clothes. This is a very required makeup, a surrounding that you have to build so that your mind can be focused. If the temple of the God is in no way different from the third class railway waiting room, we shall have as much peace and concentration in the temple as we have in the railway station. How more clearly can Gurudev be? He is very crystal about it, that your mind can only be clean when your body, when your surrounding remains clean. Or else the effect of this dirt around you, the clutter around you, will not allow your mind to be focused and concentrated. Unfortunately, of the religionists in the world, the Hindus, in this respect, are the dirtiest of the lot. Straightforward and direct truth. They are ignorant, careless, indolent, and stupid. Rarely indeed are our temples clean, not because there are no hands working incessantly to keep them clean, but the rate at which the devotees dirty it is faster than the rate at which a few hands could clean it off. It is us who make things dirty. It is us who should keep things clean, especially in the place of a temple, where you have gone to put your mind at rest. It is a truth that in a dirty room, in dirty clothes, under dirty wrappers, we cannot meditate properly. Therefore, cleanliness is next to godliness.
So far we have seen the two techniques of how to get control of your mind. The first technique is by force. Now, how do you physically control your own mind? You cannot go inside, catch its hand and pull it. No, but what it means is we've already studied the makeup of the mind in earlier chapters. It is a continuous flow of thought. Now that you are aware that your thoughts tend to wander, many times you catch your own self. Oh my God, what I have started thinking, what I was supposed to do. So start being more aware, and when you see that thoughts are wandering off, when you are supposed to be concentrating on your meditation or your japa practice, that time immediately force yourself, and it will happen when you do it, to bring that mind back
To the
japa, to the meditation, to your mantra that you were doing. So that is forceful. And secondly, saying that you create the atmosphere for the lakshya that you have to take or get. So that atmosphere has to be one of piousness and cleanliness. We say so easily, cleanliness is next to godliness. But yet, unfortunately, it is seen that amongst all of the religions, the Hindu temples are some of the dirtiest ones. People push each other, carrying their coconuts and flowers, and it is a mayhem sometimes. That is why that system also of paying extra money and taking
private darshan
has also started. But just our sheer population, our indiscipline is so much that also doesn't really work well. So why is it like that? Why
we need to reflect and act.
What should we do to stop this from happening? So these are the things we can think about. But remember, in your house, wherever you can, even in the temple that you visit or go, have the discipline. Be clean. That is a place of meditation, that is a place of worship, and it needs to reflect in that. So these are the two methods Gurudev has said. Let us see the third method.
Moving forward, in a clean room or in a clean corner of a room, after ablution, cleaning yourself. If you've eaten something just before, don't just sit and start japa, or don't go into a temple. You had a pan or you had tea and directly go into a temple. No. Make your mouth environment clean. Wash your hands, wash your feet, ablutions. When we sit on a clean seat in front of a symbol of the Lord, sufficiently captivating to the mind, and indeed fully entertaining the intellect, we can have all the necessary protection against the mind's wandering. So, mind and intellect both should get attached. The intellect needs entertainment. What it means is, it needs to be attracted towards something. Making use of these, when we try to meditate, there are again the subtle causes rising from the inner world, which also try to sabotage our efforts. Our love and hatred, hopes and demands, desires and passions make the inner world dirty, and propelled by them, our minds fly at a tangent in their roamings. Now slowly Gurudev is getting the mind from the outer surroundings to the inner difficulties, disturbances. These wanderings are held back by singing the Lord's glories with the eyes open. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. What this does is, your eyes, your mouth, your ears, your hands, your entire body comes into the atmosphere of your Ishta.
Don't we experience it? Immediately all other thoughts go away from our mind, and it gets focused on the Lord's name.
And then you can slowly close your eyes. So begin with your eyes open, look at the beautiful, beautiful Murti or the symbol of Bhagwan and sing a few words. Here too, we can deceive ourselves. And more than 99% of the religionists all over the world are doing it today. They make a great show of their devotion and scriptural learning, of their rituals and the paraphernalia attached to their religion, all a mere crude, superficial show. Such devotees are suffering from exhibitionism rather than blessed by their true spiritual urge. They are not seekers but suckers. It is evident. We see our Ganapatis going. We see the weirdness that is happening today in the world. This is madness. He is clearly saying this is all not what spirituality is. It is something else. It is not spirituality. It is clear then that sincerity of purpose is the secret of success in spiritual seeking. Fourth, our religion our religion liberally provides us with a sufficient field for practice in meditation. Generally, an uncontrolled and raw mind wanders into limitless fields. Now in heaven, now in hell, now here with us, now there with everybody. All of a sudden, to control such a mind would amount to a degree of suppression, which is not healthy. Thus, in all religions of the world, we are given authorized versions of history of the gurus or the achievements of some godmen on earth. To read such stories and to meditate upon the Lord's divine play on the stage of life would be to give our mind a larger field, and yet a field that has an integrating principle underlining its very detail, namely the Lord Himself. So therefore, the stories of Bhagwan, the stories of great worshippers, great godmen are said and read and should be understood. And remember, because they motivate us to move to the right direction, and it gives a tangible idea how we can get better and better. Reducing even this field to one single incident in Lord's life, which perhaps attracts you the most, and to meditate upon it would be training the mind to restrain its activity to a more limited area. From this stage, to fix our attention upon the Lord's form only, upon a symbol such as a cross or a crescent or a book, would be still further reducing the area of our attention. Even here, there is certainly a conspicuous field for the mind to wander amongst its pluralities. The Lord's feet is not similar to his hips. His hips are certainly different in shape and suggestions from the divine chest, and the sacred face is still different from the limbs or the trunk. In short, your mind will try to go here and there. Even when you get your mind to focus on the Lord's body, it will see the difference of this and that. That is like this is like that. Oh, in that particular picture I saw the chakra like that. So mind will just not let you focus on one point.
There is another way of seeing this also. Many of us during yoga asanas also, we must have heard or seen or experienced also the teacher telling us that now lie down in Shavasana, close your eyes, now think about your feet, now think about your thighs, now think about your stomach, and so far. And then she or he comes to our mind and then tells us, now relax, let go. So these are techniques. So similarly over here also, the third technique which is the fourth technique which has been mentioned over here is, the whole idea is to get our mind's concentration from a larger area to a smaller and smaller and smaller area. So when you are looking at the Lord's photo also, you begin from his feet and go upwards to the face. And then looking at the face, then you can close your eyes and start meditating. So you can initially, instead of taking, in order to decrease your space or area of concentration, you can start by looking at one limb or one part of the body of the Divine Lord also, and then finally comes to the face, and then you start concentrating over there. So the idea is, again I am repeating, clear, that from a larger area, bring your mind to focus in a smaller and smaller area.
Again, to aim still nearer to the bullseye, almost its innermost circle would be when the mind comes to meditate upon merely the face of the Lord, eliminating all the different details in his face, to make the mind steadily concentrate upon his divine lips and the blissful smile of joyous perfection, is to reach a very high point of concentration through the pleasant path of devotion. When a seeker has reached this stage, and when he can easily maintain himself in the field of intense concentration, he is almost at the doors of the truth. See, from the entire thing now, he is only focused on the lips and the smile. But there is yet left to go. The smile of the Lord is now the point of the concentration. But even here, there is a suggestion of plurality. There are the two lips of the Lord. The upper is different from the lower. And again, there is a sense of plurality between the lips and their smile. With an effort which would be the last and the final, the seeker is then advised to negate the lips and meditate upon the smile. Anybody who is trying this would then realize that to meditate upon the smile is to live in the smile and his voiceless message in the Lord himself. In all this, the devotee depends entirely upon his devotion or love for the Lord, and his success and concentration or victory over his mind is entirely dependent on the amount of love he can bring to bear in his all-surrounding devotion. How lovely! Such clarity in the space of meditation could only come through a realized master. Someone who has not only walked the path but overcome all the obstacles and reached the goal. And upon reaching the goal, turn back, come down to our level and take our hands step by step to the goal again.
In the final example, which we just read, that is the fourth example that we have read, says the concentration comes up to the lips of the Lord. But the lips also show duality because there are two lips, up and down. So then, how to make that duality non-dual? How to make Dvaita into Advaita? But instead of concentrating on the lips now, start concentrating on the smile. And eventually merge your mind into the Lord. That is the goal, remember. To merge into the Lord, not to just talk over there. And that is what will happen eventually. There are many other techniques also, but we will show them and we will read them together tomorrow. So do read this again. There is not really too much to explain, but a lot to think upon and practice. That is very important now. So we take our leave today and let's end this session with prayers.
Thanking Gurudev once again for everything that he has done for everyone. Om Asato ma Satgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Mrutam Gamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om to all. Hari Om.